All right, welcome and good morning. Thanks for being here. Let's dive in. Grab a mat or a non-slippery surface. And if you have a bolster, pillow, blankets, that's always helpful. Remember, we can do adjustments for wherever we're at to meet us where we're at. So, starting with your foundations, feet together, try and have those big toes touching as much as possible. You can do literally put a rubber band so that they learn. You can train your big toes to touch each other because shoes often have trained our big toes away from each other. Do you want to ignite that intelligence of the big toes because it does make a huge difference structurally all the way up. So go ahead and slightly bend your knees. Bend the knees. Spread all 10 toes wide. Wide, 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 wide. Again, sometimes you have to retrain those neural pathways to get all 10 toes wide. But you'll notice that starts to change the structure of your feet. The tendons activate. Hey.
That's just me.
Oh,
I'm
hey.
putting my earbud on. I can hear you
Perfect.
better with it.
Okay, good. Let me know if you can hear me good.
Yes, yes, really good. Thank you.
Good. So we have that micro bend in the knees. All 10 toes are spreading wide, which starts to activate the tendons, the arches, the ankles start to strengthen. We got to strengthen those ankles. And then that builds the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the neck, everything up. So with that micro bend, it's really important. Helps you get the toes aligned, the feet spread wide. And then you bend the knees to set the legs. So engage the kneecaps upwards to straighten the legs. And another way to think about it is the front of the thigh is reaching to the back of the thigh. So again, bend the knees to set the legs, spread the toes wide, press the mounds of the big toes, and then engage the kneecaps upwards towards the ceiling, front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. Keep those toes spreading wide because that's your foundation. And we can only start to access the spine, especially that inner spine, through the intelligence of the feet. Mounds of big toes pressing, inner heels pressing. Good. And once you click on that inner heel, which again, right here, where that arch meets the heel. Once you click on that inner heel, mount a big toe, then you start to get the stabilizing muscle of the spine activated. So imagine that the tip of your tailbone at the base of your spine is reaching to the floor. Reaching, reaching, reaching. You're growing longer, making more space, reaching towards the floor. Center heart, center sternum is lifting upwards and forwards at a 60-degree angle. Front of the thigh is reaching to the back of the thigh, and we're releasing that grip. So open the backs of the thighs. The backs of the thighs are spreading wide. That's going to start to tone all along the sacrum. And again, those inner groins are reaching to the floor, reaching to the floor, reaching to the inner heel. Your lower back rib cage is expanding, broadening, and reaching back behind you. Ooh, all those little points are going to activate your balance. And then just see how many you can integrate at once. All 10 toes spreading wide. Mounds of big toes pressing, inner heel pressing. Kneecaps lifting up towards the ceiling. the front of your thigh or the front of your femur is reaching to the wall behind you at an equal rate. So that right one's active, that left one's active. Tailbone descending down to the floor. Center chest lifting upwards and forwards. And now extend out the top center of your head. Top of the head is reaching to the ceiling. Now use your breath. Smooth inhalation, smooth exhalation through your nose. Try and keep as many of those points as you can and draw the inner shoulder down the back. Inner shoulder down the back. Again, that's where we tend to carry the weight of the world. Release anything that you're carrying. Release that shoulder down and back. Beautiful. And it's when you start to synchronize those points, even a few of those points, that inner blueprint kicks on. Good. Equal pressure in your feet, tailbone descending, inner shoulder descending, opening the back ribs. And just see if you can get a couple more inches. It's in there. I promise it's in there. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Reach out the top of the head. Tailbone descending, descending, descending. Again, bend the knees to set the legs. So as you bend the knees, you can actually start to open the backs of the thighs. Open the back of the thigh. Outer hip rolling towards the front thigh. Inner groin rolling towards the back thigh. You'll start to feel those sacrum muscles click on. And then just see if you can align center knee over center ankle, over center belly button, over center heart, chest, center throat, center forehead. And even that millimeter of micro movement shifts the patterns, the habits, all the way up through the body. Big toes touching, big toes touching, big toes touching. Reach the inside, the inner heels. So where the inner arch meets your heel, reach through the floor. Boom, your spine starts to activate. Toe tips extending, toe tips extending. Side waists equal. And it really comes through that pressure of the feet. So pretend that you have a bathroom scale on the right foot and the left foot, and you want it to read equally, right? Most of us have 20, 30, 40 pounds more on one side or the other, and we don't know it because it feels balanced, because we're used to it. But get that micro feedback, right to left, right to left, right to left. Even put more weight in your left foot. See how that feels. Put more weight in your right foot. See how that feels. If one side feels strange, you know that you don't use that side as much. Use that side more. Good. And again, we're just spreading the bottom of the feet wide, spreading the toes wide, inner shoulder rolling down and back, and I still have that micro bend in my knees. Press through the inner heel, engage the kneecaps upwards to straighten the legs, front of the thighs to the back of the thighs. Sacrum bone, that triangular bone is reaching to the wall in front of you. Thighs back, sacrum forward, thighs back, sacrum forward. Feel those inches that you start to gain, right? Even if it's a millimeter. Good. Okay, so we want to keep, that was our stacking. We want to keep that awareness, those actions. Take your feet wide. And we're going to pigeon toe. So kick those heels out, toes coming inwards. That's going to naturally open the backs of the thighs. And then get your feet on the same plane. Most of us have 1 foot, an inch or 2 or 3 in front of the other. So find a line, maybe it's your mat, but get those toes on the same horizontal plane. Heels kicked out, toes kicked in. Okay. And your stance is wider than you think. You can always be against a wall for balance. Ideally, if you were to drop a plumb line from your wrist to your ankle, that's how wide you want your stance. Now, that's a lot of work, just this. So we're starting to work the sides of the legs. Now go ahead and press into your outermost edges of your feet. Press into the outside edges of your feet. And lift your inner arches of your feet up towards the ceiling. Hands on your hips. Chin aligned with your center sternum. And just keep working and finding that pressure. Opening up those knee joints through the pressure of your feet. Building those stabilizing muscles in the feet, the ankles, and the spine. And keep lifting those inner arches of your feet upwards towards the ceiling. And your feet are on that same horizontal plane on the floor. Open the backs of the thighs, open, spread wide, spread wide, spread wide, spread wide. Remember, we're doing equal opposing actions. It's physics. So as the back of the thighs open, draw that tailbone straight down to the floor. Equal opposing actions to find that balance in the body, balance in the brain. And we are literally remapping the body to remap the brain. Good. So imagine that the floor is spreading wide through the pressure of your feet. Stay grounded in those outside edges of your feet. Those ankles might be talking. You might be getting that burning, that aching, grueling. The strengthening. So just stick with it and remember those bathroom scales, right side, left side balanced. And again, engage the front of the thigh to the back of the room. Open the backs of the thighs even more. When you get those actions combined, tailbone descending, opening the back of the thigh, pressing on the outside edges of the feet, you're gonna find the combination that starts to tone the muscles of the hips. So this pose sets the hips right into the socket and then tones the muscle around it. We need both. We need the setting and the toning. Now lift your sternum upwards and forwards at a 60-degree angle as the tailbone descends and as the front of the thigh reaches to the back of the thigh opening. Lift, 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 inner shoulders reaching downwards. It's a retraining. It does take thousands of hours of application of practice. Inner shoulders training down towards the floor, glutes chasing towards the floor, heart opening, heart opening, heart opening, heart opening. And again, as we engage the front of the thigh to the back of the room, we're making space in the knee joints and then stabilizing those muscles around the knee joints. So no hyperextending. I'd rather you micro bend your knees than hyperextend. Exhale. Let's all micro bend those knees together. Keep the pressure, the weight on the outside edges of your feet. So work slowly and symmetrically. The slower you work, the more subtle you work, the more you're going to get out of this. Micro bend those knees, start to lean forward, hands on the hips. And those knees bending, you can really start to find that symmetry, that pressure in your feet, right and left. Heart is still open, so you're still lifting that center sternum upwards and forwards. Align the chin with the sternum. Press in the outside edges of your feet. We're toning the spine now. So as you access the awareness of the feet, you start to access the awareness of the sit bones. So the two bones you sit on, there's the right and the left. Use that inner awareness, that imagination, that inner paintbrush. Find the two sit bones. And the sit bones start to release wide and release to the wall back behind you through that equal pressure of your feet. And so much happens in the pelvis, right? So if we start to dissect the pelvis, it impacts everything else. Heart lifting, heart lifting, heart lifting. Face parallel with the floor, reach out the top center of the head. Lengthen the back of the spine, the back of the neck. And again, remember, we're just training that balance, training that awareness. You're training the spine. Exhale, release slowly. And I mean slower than you can imagine. Begin to straighten those legs, begin to come upright. See if you can get taller, lifting that heart upwards and forwards. And again, just very slowly micro adjustments. It's in these slow movements that we start to catch those weaknesses and stabilize them. So if you really move slow and try and press through your feet, you'll notice the body has a teeny tiny waver at some point. So slowly bend the knees, slowly reach the chest forward. We're trying to catch where we waver and extend through it. And we're going to extend through it by finding equal pressure and then slowly straighten again, slowly straightening the legs, slowly bringing the chest upright. And again, it's the slowing it down that allows us to not compensate where we normally do. Because you're moving steady, you're moving slow, going downwards and upwards. Bending the knees, bending the chest forward, spreading those sit bones. Slowly pressing in the feet to come back upwards. Oh, that was my little waver spot. So I'm going to go back to my little waver spot. It's subtle. And I'm going to work there. Work that equal pressure. And then again, micro bend. And that's where you really build that precision and awareness. Iyengar would always say that you're training your body like a fine racehorse. So it's that subtle subtlety that we're working with. Equal pressure on the outside of the feet. Again, we're just slowly working upwards and downwards. Trying to stabilize and train through anywhere you have a subtle waver. And use your breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. And it's more demanding than it looks when you get into that micro level. And then bend the knees to slip, and you can put your hands down if you need to slowly walk those feet together. Really, we were training the stabilizing of those ankles, of those feet. Slowly, slowly, slowly walk the feet together. Bringing those feet all the way together, mounds of big toes touching, spreading the toes wide. Tailbone descending. Kneecaps lifting up towards the ceiling. Now that you've trained your brain to the micro movement, the subtlety, that subtle wavering, see if you can catch it here. And we're going to stabilize it through the pressure of our feet, pressing through the mounds of big toes, inner heels. And see if you can extend all the way through the floor like a tree growing deep roots. That's your stability. Oh, you see that teeny tiny wavering. Press through the inner heels. Imagine roots growing through there. Press through the mounds of the big toes. Roots are growing through there. Press through the center outside edge of your feet to the floor. Roots are growing through there. That's our stability. And when we have that, remember that triangulation, those 3 points of the feet, that's the triangle is the strongest form. That's where our strength comes from. And then when we have that stability, the body starts to stack naturally. The heart starts to open. The armpit chest lifts. Use your thumb to grab a hook under your armpit chest. Lift that armpit chest up to the ceiling. Lift that armpit chest up to the ceiling, but don't lose those 3 points. Roots growing from the mounds of the big toes, the inner heels, the outer edges of your feet. And then lengthen through the spine. And then reach out the top of the head. And again, you're working with that subtle wavering. And just bringing awareness to those points. That's it. Front rib reaches to the wall behind you, palms facing forward. Reach through the 3 points in the right foot, the 3 points in the left foot. Make spaciousness in the back of your neck. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Find a focal point on the floor to stare at. Chin in alignment with your center sternum. Navel in alignment with center spine. Sacrum reaching to the front of the room, thighs reaching to the wall behind you. And you're starting to stack the hips over the ankles, the shoulders over the hips. Getting those micro adjustments to find that inner stability and strength. And then exhale, release. And you might be burning in new areas at the bottom of the feet and the ankles because you're developing and toning those areas, strengthening them. Okay, for this next one, grab a strap or a bungee or a scarf. Come to seated. Okay, we've talked about this before. There's the front sit bones, on my front sit bones, and there's the back sit bones. You'll see a lot of teenagers sitting on their back sit bones. But we want to retrain onto the front. It does change your posture. It does change your confidence. It does change the way you relate to the world, your perception, your trust, your heart opening. So literally grab the muscle, the skin, the tissue, move that flesh, and you'll feel it. You'll feel your inner sit bone that you sit on. We want to have those connecting points. Move the flesh, the muscle, the tissue, till you can literally feel the pressure on the inside edge of your sit bone and the front edge of your sit bone. My feet are just almost together, knees wide. So you can feel, I don't even want to go back to the back sit bones because the front sit bones feel so good. But you can see that there's a natural stacking of my vertebra when I'm on my front sit bones. And now when I'm on my back sit bones, the heart collapses, the chest collapses. This is where our self-worth resides in the body. And so now it's collapsed, right? And you'll feel it, you'll notice the difference in your thoughts, in the way that you relate to the world. So again, you got to work for it to get on those front sit bones, spread them wide, roll to the front. Okay, now I'm on my front sit bones. My spine is stacking, which is also building the strength and the musculature from my lower back all the way up. And we need that strength because we need that elasticity and that pliability in our spine. Right? Imagine shocks like on your car. If your shocks are worn out, it's a bumpy ride. If you have those healthy shocks, it's smooth. You glide over bumps. That's what you want for your spine. You want it like a spring, a healthy spring. So now we're going to work subtle again, just working with that inner awareness, inner intelligence, and with your brain, with your mapping, roll onto the inside edges of your sit bones. Roll onto your innermost sit bone. Feeling that contact, that pressure on the floor. And then roll onto your frontmost sit bone. Front sit bone, inner sit bone. And almost everyone has a sit bone that's tucked and a sit bone that's out, and a sit bone that's forward and a sit bone that's back. So we're training the stability, the balance, the equalizing of the sit bones, which will translate changing the musculature throughout the whole body. It's helpful to ground on your front shins. Soften the jaw, soften the face, release the neck, release those inner shoulders down. Lengthen, extend through the center top of the head. We're literally just retraining, getting on those front sit bones, which will organize our pelvis, our spine, our shoulders, our neck, our hips, our knees, our ankles. But again, we're building that stability, that strength. Now is where the hard part comes in. So we want to keep this awareness, and we're going to incorporate our strap. So inner sit bones, front sit bones, inner sit bones, front sit bones. Now take your right foot. So your arm goes on the outside of your knee. You're pressing through the mound of the big toe, the inner heel. My knees bent. But again, I'm just working to roll on that innermost sit bone, and you can straighten that left leg. So left leg straight already, right? We lose some of that inner sit bone, some of that front sit bone. But again, even though it feels impossible, it's the seeking for it, the trying for it, that you're building so much strength. Inner sit bone, front sit bone, inner sit bone, front sit bone, inner sit bone, front sit bone. And then if you're able to, you can work towards straightening the leg and lengthen out the top of the head. Now I've obviously shifted some of my weight away from my front sit bone, but I'm still working for it. Front sit bone, front sit bone, front sit bone. Inner heels, inner heels, inner heels. Good. Bend the knees, bring them back to that starting position. Get back onto those front sit bones, inner sit bones. Now that you know what it is, what it feels like, what you're looking for, train there again. And then take that left foot. Strap just goes around the mound of the big toe. Arms are on the outside of the knee. Straighten that right leg. Keep that left leg bent, reaching, extending, trying to find those inner front sit bones, both of them. External rotation of your arms, lengthen at the top of the head. You'll feel your core and everything else engage. You might get some of that percolation, that shaking. And then exhale. If you can, straighten the leg too. But if it makes you round your back too much, just keep it bent. Bottom of the feet spreading. Front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. Inner sit bones, front sit bones. Exhale, come down. Again, bend the legs, move the tissue, move the muscle, find those inner sit bones, those front sit bones. You can grab your shins, helps you pull so that you can actually get on those front sit bones. And if you could honestly just train here for 100 hours on those front sit bones, you just would be unrecognizable. Your spine would strengthen and change so much. That inner confidence, and I don't mean ego, it's the farthest thing from. I guess it's ego with direction, with connection. But just that true self, that heart opening, that softness, that literally nothing to prove. That quiet self, it just gets activated. Soften the throat, soften the center forehead, reach out the top of the head. We're going to strive again. Keep trying to keep those inside sit bones and front sit bones, even though it's going to feel impossible. Knees come together. Grab that strap right around the mounds of big toes, reaching on the outside of your feet. This is so hard. I'm just going to tell you in advance. You're literally walking, pretending like you're walking onto the front sit bones, the inside sit bones. You're walking with your sit bones. Walking, 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 walking. Train, pause here. External rotation of the arms. Mounds of big toes pressing. Reach through the inner heels. Soften the face. Pretend like you have those bathroom scales on the right sit bone, left sit bone. Tree roots growing from the right sit bone, left sit bone, grounding. Again, you could train here 100 hours, 10,000 hours. And now we're just gonna micro lift the heel off the ground. Micro lift. Oh my gosh, micro lift. And balance. Remember, you're reaching towards the front sit bones, inner sit bones, Lengthening out the top center of the head. Inner sit bone, 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 front sit bone, front sit bone, front sit bone. Heels are just off the ground. You're just balancing. Lengthening out the top of the head. Again, you could train here for 100 hours. Engage the muscle to the bone in the arms. Muscle to the bone, muscle to the bone, muscle to the bone. Soft face, soft throat. Center navel to the center spine. And then exhale, take the leg just slightly higher. I mean, barely. But you're not losing that extension and length in the spine. Lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the spine. Reach through your inner heels, reach through the top of your head. Legs a little bit more now. My backs of my legs are parallel with the floor. Again, if you have that shaking, that percolating, breathe through it, extend through it. Smooth breath. Center heart lifting towards the ceiling. Exhale a little bit more. Oh gosh, I got that shaking. Reach to the top of the head. Smooth breathing. Extend through the toe tips. Even though I've mostly lost that inner sit bone and that front sit bone, I'm still working towards it. I'm still trying to access it. And then if you can, just a little bit more. If you're getting that shaking, we got to work on the nervous system. That's what we're doing. Inhale, lengthen, extend through. So if you can straighten your legs while keeping the back extended and long, reaching out the top of the head, open the backs of the thighs, sternum lifting up towards the ceiling. Exhale. Oh my gosh, it's so much work. Come on down. Take a breath. Keep where you're at. Just let that integrate into the spine, into the nervous system. Nervous system training, core training. Harder than it looks, isn't it? Especially when you're working slow and detailed and all those points. I'm gonna be hungry after this. Roll onto those front sit bones. Roll onto the inside edge of your sit bones. Find them, find them, find them, find them, find them. If you could just take this intelligence awareness, if you gained one piece of information for the rest of your life, inner sit bones, it would change everything. And I do mean everything. Okay, inner sit bones. Grab the strap on your feet. This time we're going to start up. Ooh, start up. Again, press through the mounds with the big toes, the inner heels. And now we're going to work our way down. So slow. Wherever that shaking is where we need to work. So find the inner sit bones. Slowly bend the knees. Lengthen through the top of the head. Press through the mounds of the big toes and the inner heels. Equal pressure on the sit bones. External rotation of the arms. Okay, back so the legs are of the calves are parallel with the floor. Heart lifting, heart lifting. And a little bit more. Heart opening, heart opening. Lengthen through the top of the head. Okay, now the heels are just hovering off of the floor. 6 inches, a few inches. Inner sit bones, inner sit bones, inner sit bones. And then an inch above the floor, a half inch above the floor. Oh, that's the hardest balance. Inner sit bones, front sit bones. And you can just work there, wavering between floor and a half inch or an inch. Floor and a half inch or an inch. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. And then down. And then while we're back to those front sit bones, those inner sit bones, shoulders rolling down and back. Woo! And that is the work. Okay, lying on your backs, lying on your backs. You're going to keep your strap. Hug those knees in for a second. Press through the mounds of the big toes, inner heels. Soften the navel, soften the organs, soften the face, the center brow, the throat. Get those feet are active. Spreading the toes wide, pressing through the mounds of the big toes, the inner heels. Soften the belly, soften the belly, soften the belly. Soften the navel to the spine. And as you really work those feet, you start to develop this outer ridge of the lower leg. So important. Grab your strap, bring it around the mounds of the big toes, across the bottom of the feet, head to the floor. Knees are bent, but you're working, starting to get those legs upwards. Pretend that your feet are flat on the ceiling. Again, soften the navel, soften the belly, navel to the spine. Arms are straight. You're getting an external rotation of your arms, inner shoulder reaching down your back. Again, you could train here 100 hours, 1,000 hours. You can always release the grip if you need to of your strap and just train without it. It's there for you if you need it. Now again, remember big toes touching. It's like we need that rubber band to get those big toes touching. Knees are at the same plane. Exhale, we're slowly straightening the legs a little bit more. Navel to the spine, navel to the spine, navel to the spine. And we're just slowly, slowly, slowly straightening our legs. Getting them as straight as you can today. Front of the knee or front of the thigh, reaching to the back of the thigh. Open the back of the thighs, thighs spreading wide. Outer hip rolls towards the front of the thigh. Release the outside edge of the knee towards the wall that's behind your knees. You can always wrap the strap around your hands. So what was that last point? Outer edges of your knees are reaching towards the wall that is behind your legs, behind the back of your legs, away from your head. And that inner groin is releasing towards that same wall. Outer knees, inner groin, releasing. Stack your ankles over your knees over your pelvis. Center pelvis, center navel, center heart, center chin, center forehead, center top of the head. Smooth, soft breathing through your nose. Releasing the jaw. Pretend like your feet are flat walking on that ceiling. And pressing through the mounds of the big toes, inner heels, outer edges of your feet. And rolling those inner shoulders down the back. Trying to get equal pressure on your right and left shoulder, equal pressure in your right and left pelvis. Smooth breathing through the nose. And exhale bend those knees. Release them down. Rolling onto your right side. Now, if you have a bolster, oh, we got a couple minutes. We're gonna skip that one. Come to seated. Come to seated, any comfortable seated position. Simple cross-legged. Again, roll the sit bones, front sit bone, inside sit bone. Hands on the front of the knees. And you're literally changing the intelligence of your spine, the strength of your spine, the balance, the stability through the awareness of the pressure on your sit bones. So extend through the right sit bone, extend through the left sit bone equally. And just notice how your posture changes and how the strength of your spine changes. The strength of our spine is everything. So strength and elasticity. Reach through those inner sit bones, lengthen through the top of the head, soften the face, soften the throat, heart lifting, heart lifting, heart lifting, heart lifting, inner shoulders descending. Sit bones descending, sacrum skin, the skin right at that base of that pelvis in the back is reaching up towards the ceiling. And it's amazing what clicks once you truly find that center, that stability, that activation of the spine. It's so peaceful. It's so clear. There is only the present moment when that spine gets activated. Inhale, arms reaching forward, palms facing each other, keeping that awareness and activation of your sit bones, softness of your face, softness of your throat. Navel towards the spine, softening of the organs. Reaching through the sit bones, reaching through the top center of the head. Face soft. Just feel that activation. Feel the muscles along the spine, the legs, the hips. And then feel the spaciousness that you're creating between every single vertebra. Spaciousness, spaciousness, like clouds. Exhale, palms together, elbows weighted. Still reaching through those sit bones. Chin towards the heart. Center forehead soft, eyes closed. Thank you so much for your calm cultivation today, your practice, the self-study. Think of someone, something you're grateful for. Keep that activation of the spine, the sit bones. Go ahead and dedicate this practice to someone, something. Exhale, palms up. Heart still lifting, sternum lifting, sternum lifting, sternum lifting. Inner shoulders descending. Forehead peaceful. Forehead soft. All right, we will see you next week. Great work. Love y'all.
Wow, love you guys too. I just want to say I'm glad that I
paid attention to my breathing this time. It was so much more easier.
Good hack.
It truly is the music to this practice for me. Yeah,
It
at
is. It
least.
is.
Yeah. It's
Smoothness.
almost like when you have a baby and they tell you to breathe through it instead of tightening up and screaming. So I
Uh-huh.
need to remember that.
Right? It's that softening.
Yes, yes.
I love it. It's so true. It feels counterintuitive, but it's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh.
I love it. Okay. Well, great work. And we will
Mm-hmm.
see you next week. Thank you,
Yes,
Mom.
yes. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you guys. Y'all have a blessed one.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care, Melody.
Take
Bye,
care.
Coach Rita. Mwah.